Hi everyone. So in this IGTV video I'll be showing you how to do this watercolor background mandala. As you can see, there are two halves of this with different set of patterns in each half. So let's see how many grid circles do we need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 circles we will be needing for this mandala. So let's begin. First we need to figure out the center point of the page, so I'll place the scale diagonally from one corner to the opposite corner and draw a light small line approximately in the middle. I'll do the same for the other two corners as well. So this intersecting point is the center of this page. I'll draw a horizontal line through this point. As you have seen, the design here is a bit different from the usual circular mandalas. So what we will need to do now is draw two parallel lines near the center of the page like this. Now let's draw a vertical line through the center which will also meet these two parallel lines drawn. So apart from the center point, we have two other intersecting points now, 1 and 2. It's time to use the compass now. I'll place it in point 1 of the first half of the grid and start drawing the half circles. I'll simultaneously draw the half circles in the other half of the grid as well, since the measurement needs to be the same in both the halves. The first two circles will be close to one another. While the remaining 5 circles will be at some distance. You can take any measurement you want. Just be sure that for this particular design, the distance between the 5 circles are almost the same. I'll be using the protractor now. The angles should be marked 10 degrees apart. I'll place the protractor at the center of the first half of the mandala and start marking the angles using a pencil. Now I'll connect the angles with the center point of this half using a scale. Always remember to use pencil lightly so that later on when you are done with the artwork and you are rubbing off the pencil marks, no hard impressions are left behind. And in a similar way, we'll be repeating the same process of marking the angles and connecting them with the center of the other half of the grid. So our grid is ready. Our grid is actually the most important and basic thing in a mandala. Without it, the designs and patterns won't be proportionate. As you can see this reference image, the first circle is full black. I have drawn a semicolon like shape over here. If you want, you can skip doing that. I am using 0.1 mm fine liner for drawing the lines. I'll zoom in a bit for you to understand the strokes more clearly. Like I said, you can skip drawing this semicolon shape. I'll now use 0.8 mm fine liner to fill in the circle. For the second half circle, I'll just draw the outline. For drawing the circles, you can use a protractor like this. I got this one from Amazon, but there are limited number of circles here. So for bigger circles, you will need a compass which can hold pens, or you can do it freehand. The next pattern is pretty easy. It's like flipped U. As you can see, in between the gaps, I have drawn tiny circles. So for the next pattern, I'll be taking two cells together. I'll start here. It's also like a flipped U, but with flat edges and slightly round corners. So we are done with the first few rows. For the fifth sequence, we'll be repeating the same pattern. Again, in between these gaps, I'll draw tiny circles. The next pattern will be to draw curved lines. Here also I'll be taking two cells together. I'll repeat the same pattern for the next sequence, leaving some gap near the top. And the outline for the last sequence is also going to be the same. So the outline of the mandala is now ready. I'll just draw two lines to clearly separate the two halves of the mandala. As you can see, there are two different sets of patterns for each half of this mandala. So I'll start filling the patterns now. So for the first one, I'll just draw a small line with a dot on top, like a Roman 1 or like the alphabet I. And on the other half, I'll draw two lines together. It doesn't need to be of same measurement. You can draw the lines with random strokes. One thing that I completely forgot to mention previously is that if you draw double margins like this, then the ultimate mandala will look much more neat. It's always better to keep a white pen while drawing a mandala so that if there is any mistake, you can rectify it on spot. So here I'll be dividing the portion into equal halves by drawing a line in the middle. I'll fill up one half of the portion with slanting lines. and for the other part I'll draw up in like shape. Now a different set of patterns for the opposite half of the mandala. I'll just draw the inner margins for the rest of the outlines. Since I'm more comfortable with upward strokes, I'm doing them first. If you look carefully, you will see that the patterns are not much difficult, but still, if you are a beginner, you can always draw the patterns using a pencil, and later on when you are finalizing the artwork, you can draw it with a pen. And once again, I'll mention that if you are using a pencil to draw the patterns, remember to use it lightly so that when you rub it off, no hard impressions are left behind. Mandala art actually needs a lot of patience. Initially, you might feel it to be difficult, or you might even feel like this is not looking the way you wanted it to look like. But trust me, once you are done, you will see how beautiful it looks, and it will completely get transformed once all the patterns are done. So the basic artwork is now ready. If you want, you can leave it here or you can add some colors to the background. Here I have taken a normal transparent plastic sheet and I'll be using brush pens in the shades of green and blue. Once I'm done adding the colors on the sheet, I'll just take a spray bottle and spray some little bit of water on the sheet and tap on it using my fingers and just flip the sheet. You can see how adding a little bit of color in the background has completely transformed the artwork. So that's all for this IGTV video. Thank you so much for watching it.